What was like your favorite? What do you remember? Your best experience on Three's Company?
You mean like my favorite episode?
Favorite episode, or even it's something that happened behind the scenes or anything like that?
Well, without getting too philosophical, my favorite part of Three's Company was working with John. Was coming in every day and laughing from the get-go, because it was what is known as maybe the friendliest set in Hollywood.
Really?
And I mean, actors over the years came back and said to us, "Oh, I worked on your show and I had the best time of my life," and that's great. The other thing is, I'm a trained singer, and I got to sing in a couple episodes. One of them was the Impossible Dream episode, and so that's like my favorite.
Right.
But just the experience of working with John, who I miss incredibly, terribly.
Yeah.
Who were better landlords? The Ropers,
it's not better. It's
Mr. Farley?
Totally different. You know, when Norm Fells and Audra were fantastic veteran pros. We were blessed to have them. And then when they were spun off with the Ropers, and they said, "We're getting Don Knotts, 5-time Emmy winner," you know, from Andy Griffith's show. It was like, "Are you kidding me?" And the first line that Don said, and the first time we went down to the set, we rehearsed 3 days in the rehearsal room. And you go down for camera blocking. So Mr. Furley's first entrance, Don Knotts' first entrance, he came out and the crew was there and they all applauded. It was quiet, and Don said, "Where are the cue cards?" Because we didn't use cue cards.
Right.
People don't know. Television from the 60s.
Jesus.
No, but
You must have used them on Andy Griffith, huh?
yeah, no, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But no, the two landlords, they're totally
The
different.
Ropers were great.
Totally different.
Yeah. What? Tell me about. So, Larry used to be. He started out as like an honest Larry or something, or was it?
No, he's the used car salesman with the heart of gold, and you know, honest. That was his profession, but his avocation was hunting down tail. And
nothing. I know that.
but here's the here's the age-old question: did Larry actually really score?
That
You know.
and
But here's the deal: if you think that it's the '70s going into the '80s, probably, because apparently people were giving it up then.
Yeah. Did you?
And it was before the revolution, the AIDS epidemic and whatever.
What about when Suzanne left? Because that was a big thing when Suzanne left.
When Suzanne left, we were all extremely nervous because it was a machine. You know, it was a sitcom machine. It was a comedy machine. And when one of those elements leave, you go, okay, so now what's going to happen? There was a temporary replacement. Jane Lee Harrison and then Priscilla Barnes took over, and the ratings did not suffer. And the only reason that the show was canceled was that John did not want to have that age-old television thing where a show is a hot show for 5 years and then just diminish. He didn't want to go out with a whimper. He wanted to go out with a bang.
Yeah.
So that was the story there. And then they had plans for the spin-off, which it lasted 26 episodes.
What was the spin-off?
Three's a Crowd.
Three's a Crowd.
I remember that.
Yeah, which I guested on. I didn't. They asked me to join the spinoff, but I got a pilot with Shelley Fabares for CBS called His and Hers, and I took that instead, which didn't make it to the air. But I did guest one episode on Three's a Crowd.
And watching it tonight, watching this version, played dramatically, actually kind of worked in a way.
I told Vince that playing it for real made it even more hilarious because it wasn't boom rim shot time. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
The desperateness came out. You know, that desperateness of all the characters came out, and that made it funny in a non-formulaic boom way. You know what I mean? Yeah. I thought it was hilarious. But I did tell Vince.
Yeah.
That I never showed my genitals.
I could have sworn
Backstage is a whole different story, but not on camera.
That would have helped the ratings. Maybe hurt them.
You never know.
How do you explain its longevity?
How do you explain the longevity of Three's Company? I joined the show in its 4th episode, not as a regular. I was a guest star, and by the 6th show, it was the number 3 show in the world, or in television. And it just instantly took off, and I think it had, this is 1977, 78. It had this reputation, this aura about it, that it was risque and appealed to, pandered to, interest, sexual interest, whatever. But it was really tame. I mean, by today's standards, you look back at it, and it's quite tame. I just think. And its longevity through reruns, yes, which are still going on apparently. Check, please. Is because it's being rediscovered by generations and generations, and it's light. It's not political. It's a souffle. It's something you can sit back and just laugh.
And do you think people kind of prefer it now because it's kind of chaste, as you were saying?
Chaste, and it's also a replica of an era.
Yeah, precisely.
And people love nostalgia, and people like to go back and say, oh, wasn't that charming and quaint and whatever, and still be able to laugh.
Yeah.
I was thinking about John, who I only knew sort of in the last few years. We talked about this a lot in interviews. The great thing about John was all the pratfalls, all these things that he did, and he would say sometimes he got hurt a few times doing things.
Yeah, well, the writers recognized very early that John was a physical comedian par excellence, along the lines of Dick Van Dyke, whatever. And so they would just write a 1 or 2 line direction. John gets tangled in the ironing board. That's all. Like, John gets tangled in the ironing board, and then hijinks ensue because John, with an ironing board or a hammock, which is one of the most in an episode called "The Camping We Will Go," he's in a hammock in the woods, and he's trying to get on the hammock, and he's like, it's an amazing piece of farce and physical comedy. But they wrote that. I mean, that was specifically written in. It's just like a 1-line direction. Right. John has trouble with hammock, and then it's like 5 minutes of hilarity.
And so, Larry's character was sort of very sexual and always after the girls or whatever. Did your personal life change? I mean, or did people perceive you differently? Obviously, they probably did, but any stories that,
Well, people say, first of all, they start off, well, did you get anything on the set there, or anything from Suzanne? I said, no, because, it was a working experience. Nor did I dabble in any of the guest stars, because I've been married most of my life.
Right.
Whatever, no, but I have men come up to me and say, "You're the player, I modeled my life after you." And I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "You might want to matriculate to another field of study,
So, any notes for Vince apart from revealing his?
I'm sorry.
Any notes for the impersonator over there apart from revealing parts of his anatomy?
Well, his hair's not dark enough.
Yeah.
My hair was like jet black. And you didn't show any chest hair.
I know. I don't have any chest hair.
Makeup used to blow dry my chest hair when I did. That's a myth. Actually, I want to go back and make a point about Neil Patrick Harris on How I Met Your Mother, current hit show. Apparently he's written in print, or he said in interviews that he modeled his character Barney on How I Met Your Mother after Larry. So I thought that was kind of flattering because I love Doogie Howser.
Yeah.
Do you think you had any sense when you were making it that you were making classic comedy?
Absolutely not. I tell you, that's a good question, because I thought that the show was like, boom and done.
Yeah.
Because there's so many shows that were produced in the 70s and 80s, whenever, that are not still running, are not on reruns or whatever. I mean, it started with Nick at Night and then TV Land and then whatever, and they started reviving it. And like I said before, the people are rediscovering the show, which is kind of amazing to me.
People don't realize what a big hit this show was, because we had a TV show on ABC called 9 to 5 based on the movie.
Yeah, Valerie Curtin, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
and we were behind the first when we came in the spring. We were behind you at 8:30. You were at 8 o'clock.
Right.
You were our tugboat.
Okay.
And our show was a gigantic hit because of you.
Yeah.
When they took us away from you, we collapsed. But you were the one that they put in front of everything to make it a hit.
Hey, listen, I did a show in 2002 called Inside Sports, and we followed Friends. Okay? Boom, the first week, tremendous ratings. Then 9/11 hit. And 2-week hiatus. Everybody sort of like went on hiatus. And then it was like, so a big lead-in doesn't necessarily.
Yours did. Yours, Three's Company.
there you
Is it on DVD at all? Is it on DVD?
Which is that?
Three's Company.
Inside
Company.
Three's Company?
Yeah.
Is it on DVD?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So do you still get
All eight-
residuals and everything?
That's a personal matter. Let's put it this way. Look up the word dwindling in the dictionary. Right, honey? Did we spend that money? I don't know. No, it's after a while, it gets less and less.
Yeah.
But after tonight, I don't know.
Yeah, it could be revived.
there could
They
be a
want to
change.
revive it. They asked us to do. The people that own this show want to do like a Broadway show and all this
really?
stuff,
Who owns
movies. DLT Entertainment or something like that.
Did you ever see, Taffner,
Don Taffner.
down Taffner, did you ever see an 8 Simple Rules when they did a Takeoff on Three's Company?
I've heard of it. I have
And the
not
kid
seen it. I
played
want to see
me, and John, it was a dream. John had this dream.
Right.
And Kaylee Corco, who's now on Big Bang, played Chrissy,
I've not
his
seen
daughter, and the other daughter played Janet.
Right.
It's hilarious.
I've
episode.
got to see that.
You have to see it.
I've heard it's brilliant.
It's
So-
it's hilarious.
Well, thank you so much for coming tonight. It was an absolute pleasure to meet you in person.
My man, let's take a shot.
That's right.
All right. They're
Is that a
shooting video. There's no flash. I had no idea.